Today I'd like to talk to you about money and relationships. Money is always mentioned amongst the top 5 reasons why people separate or get divorced, and it's often listed as number 1 or number 2 reason. So it is really important that early in the piece you have discussions with your partner around money. The key aspects from my point of view are that I think it's really vital that you have the discussion around debt before you enter into any kind of long-term relationship where there's any kind of financial commitment. And that means that you disclose any debt you have, and you also persuade your partner or your intended partner to disclose their debt as well. And then have a discussion around how you plan on paying that off. In today's world, of course, most students will, or most former students will come into a relationship in their 20s still with some student debt. So it is really important, and particularly if it's credit card debt. And then I advise all couples to do several things. One is that I advise them, like I advise everybody, to have a spending plan and or budget, and that to make that spending plan something they agree on. I suggest that couples have a meeting, usually once a month, but more frequently if needed. And if you can cope without sort of coming to fisticuffs, it's really good if you can have it once a week, so that you can just look at your goals, what your goals are, what your combined goals are for your money, for your income, and where you're going, where you're heading. Once you have those, if you're both committed to them, it makes managing your money and having the discussions around spending so much easier. Suggest that you have these meetings at a time when you're both relaxed, that there is little or no stress around it. If you've got children, do it after the children are in bed. As they're older, you may even want to include them in these discussions, but certainly as younger children, make sure they're in bed. I often suggest Sunday evening's a good time. You've had the weekend where hopefully you've been able to get some rest and relaxation in. You've had dinner, the kids are in bed, and it's a time when we're looking forward to the next week anyway, and just do this as part of your planning for the week. One of the other tips I suggest is that if there is an area that is always contentious in the spending plan, for example, one partner's spending on iTunes or their e-reader books or whatever. If it's contentious and really you can't, make a decision around it, what I suggest you do is that you decide that each of you can have a nominated amount of money each week or each month that is yours. It's yours alone, and you don't have to account for how you've spent it. But then, of course, what you've got to do is to make an agreement on what goes into that amount of money. What that amount of money is going to be spent on or is to be used for. My suggestions are always things like, going out for a drink with the girls, going for a beer with the boys, or the iTunes or games, or those things go on into that money. I don't suggest that it's used for things like clothing, because you really need to be accounting for that kind of spend. So, you agree on the amount of money. Okay, so try and set up these regular meetings about your spending, and if you can't manage to do it without, horrendous arguments, then come along and see me and we can sort it out together. Okay, have a great week everybody, have a lovely weekend, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.